Hello and welcome to my YouTube video. This is the second of 5 videos that I'm going to be doing to recognize October as National Bullying Prevention Awareness Month. And today I'm actually going to be talking to you about cyberbullying, and this is significant because today is Monday, October the 7th, 2019, and it is recognized as World Bullying Prevention Awareness Day, and their logo is #BlueAppMonday. And so what they want is everyone to wear blue to recognize that we all need to put a stop to bullying anywhere. Hello, my name is Tracey Maxfield. I am a nurse, author, peer specialist, and very staunch mental health and stop bullying advocate and educator. So before we begin, let's get over some of the little finite details. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button below, and my blog post, which always accompanies each YouTube video and is actually in more detail with references attached, can be found on my website www.traceymaxfield.com. So now that the housework is out of the way, let's get on with cyberbullying. So cyberbullying in a nutshell is the use of technology to intimidate, threaten, harass, embarrass, or target another person. And I'm sad to say, but in the last 10 years, cyberbullying has become an epidemic in society. I think the challenge is that with access to the World Wide Web, we can now communicate with anyone across the world in a matter of minutes. And the challenge is that we don't really know who we're communicating with, because when you're behind a computer, a laptop, a tablet, or even a cell phone, you can conceal your identity. And so what we're finding with cyberbullying is that people, children, teenagers are finding it much easier to post racist and inflammatory comments, to threaten, intimidate, and bully other children and teenagers, and basically to do anything without thought of the fact that A, it's immoral, B, it's illegal and unethical, and C, that it is actually one of the worst kinds of bullying. Now, there's a term that's called the total bully experience, and sad to say, that is when a child or teenager is subjected not only to cyberbullying, but also to bullying in person, be it on the school bus, in the community, at home, or in school, which is actually one of the most common places. So there are many different definitions of cyberbullying, and I was actually quite surprised when I started researching this of how many different types there are. And so throughout this video, I'm actually just going to be referring to the general term of cyberbullying, but bear in mind there are very specific phrases which outline the specific type of bullying the person can be doing. Whichever one they're doing, it has a significant and detrimental effect upon a child or teenager's mental health, well-being, their self-esteem, their confidence and self-worth, and can either exacerbate pre-existing symptoms of a mental disorder, or it can actually result in the development of a mental disorder and lead to very, very strong suicidal thoughts and ideation. And as we've already discussed, suicide related to bullying now has its own term, and it's called bullycide. So let's look at the types of cyberbullying. So we have catfishing. And catfishing has become quite prevalent amongst adults, but it's actually now being used for children and teenagers, and it is extremely scary. It's using fake profiles to trick the child or teenager into starting an online relationship with someone who they think is a peer. Griefing is abusing child or teenagers in online video games. Trolling is posting antagonizing and insulting messages, whereas flaming is sending provocative and insulting messages to start a fight. Harassment is targeting a child or teenager with the aim to scare, threaten, frighten him or her. Cyberstalking is using technology to harass or scare, and that's the general term. Fraping is logging into a child or teenager's profile without their permission and posing as him or her. Roasting is repeatedly abusing a child or teenager online until he or she cracks. And when we think of roasting, we think of the Comedy Central roasting a fellow comedian or actor. No. Online roasting is much more detrimental and harmful. And outing is publicly shaming a child or teenager by sharing their most trusted and personal information. So outing is if the child or teenager is bisexual or gay or other pertinent personal information that the teenager or child does not feel they want to share with the world in general, and maybe only a few trusted people are aware. So I think what we need to do is that cyberbullying is epidemic, not only amongst adults, but also amongst children and teenagers, and has resulted in many teenagers actually dying by suicide because of the victimization and persecution they were subjected to. And back in September 2018, the Pew Research Center actually conducted a study and found that 59% of all USA teenagers had been bullied or harassed online, and 90% of them believe that online harassment is a problem that affects all children and teenagers, including themselves. I think the sad thing is that we talk about it often. It's featured on the news, especially after a child or teenager is cyberbullied and then ends their life by suicide. And yet we keep talking about it, but nothing is done. So I'm going to give you some tips on what you can do if you're aware that your child or teenager is being cyberbullied. And so the first thing to remember is that you do not respond to the threats, intimidation, whatever it is. Whatever's online, you do not respond. And you also do not share it with other people. The best thing to do is to take snapshots, print it off, save it to a file. This is vitally important. This is your evidence. You need to save it. At the same time, you also then need to block the particular offender. It's very, very difficult, obviously, not to try and explain yourself and actually state what the truth is. This doesn't matter. This only actually encourages the bully to do more and more and more. And what happens is when you get one cyberbully, it's very easy for people to jump on board, and then you'll have multitude of cyberbullies who will share all this information because they either really have no conscience and don't care about the effects, or they really have no understanding of what the harmful effects are. So you save the shots, right? You do the screen post, copy, paste, print out. The next step is to, after you block the bully, is to report the bully to the online platform. And I don't think many people are aware of this, but Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat have safety centers where cyberbullying can in fact be reported. If the cyberbullying occurred on a website, report it to the website administrator, as it is likely that the cyberbully is going against the terms of use and they actually may face legal repercussions. And I don't think many people are truly aware of that. Depending on the type of cyberbullying, other strategies that may be helpful include contacting the cell phone company and internet provider, reporting to the police, the school, and if there is any infringement of civil rights, and this is pertaining to race, religion, sex, disability, then you report it to the Office of Civil Rights because it is an extremely serious crime. So those are the initial steps that you need to take. Now, when you're actually trying to help the child or teenager, I think initially they're going to feel shame and embarrassment and then frustration and anger because you want to tell your side of the story, because what the person is posting is lies, misinformation. So you need to encourage your child or teenager to talk about these emotions and feelings, and you need to provide a safe environment where they can be heard. And I cannot stress enough, as I do in every YouTube video, you need to listen objectively. You do not have any reaction facially or with body language. You listen objectively. You do not judge. You do not joke. You do not tease. You do not blame. You do not threaten, I'm gonna get that kid. You have to listen very calmly to what your child or teenager is telling you and determine, when did it occur? What led up to it? How long has it been going on? Is it on specific sites? What are they actually doing? Because you need all this information, because the best offense is a good defense. Then I think what you need to do is discuss strategies of how you can deal with the bully. Now, dealing with a cyberbully is a little bit different to dealing with a bully at school or on the school bus. And so I think talk to them about cyberbullies, and that the fact that they may think they're actually talking with fellow kids, and it could actually be adults in another country. For example, the girl in Nova Scotia, the 13-year-old who died by suicide, was actually persecuted and cyberbullied by an adult male who lived, I believe, in Norway, Sweden, or Finland. But she believed she was talking to a teenage boy. And this is the shame, is that we have pedophiles, we have human sex traffickers, we have criminals, we have sex offenders, we have so many different people that can masquerade online. And unless you truly know the person and have FaceTime with them, then you don't know who you're communicating with, and that's very, very important. So I think the next thing is, as an adult, you need to check out two great websites, and I think you also should check them out and then show them to your child or teenager. And they are great educational websites about cyberbullying and keeping safe. And it is PBS Kids Webinauts Internet Academy, pbskids.org, and the FBI Safe Online Surfing, sos.fbi.gov/, and all this will actually be on my blog post. So I think then, as a parent, you need to, whilst explaining the severity, you don't want to overwhelm and scare your child. So sit with them and actually go and take a look at the various online chat rooms and the various websites and the games that they play. And then talk to them about safety. And at the same time, safety should be protecting their password. And you can actually download an app which will enable you to monitor the sites that your child or teenager is going to, and you need to be open and explain that to them, because they don't want to feel that you don't trust them or you're checking up with them, and say, I'm going to do this and check, and every month we're going to sit down and we're going to have a talk about what's going on online and what site you're on, and have you noticed, are you being bullied? Is someone else being bullied? How do you feel about that? What do you think you can do to help that person. And I think that's really good, because we want to encourage children and teenagers who can protect and promote their own safety, but also help others too. And then I think other suggestions are, if you have a child that's cyberbullied, encourage them to go to school and to the activity centre and talk about it, and maybe talk about cyber safety precautions. And also maybe start up a club. Stop bullying, stop cyberbullying. Ask your school or church to give information sessions, not only to adults, because what will pertain to adults will pertain to children and teenagers. The other thing is, and this is very interesting, research has found that when a child or teenager is bullied, if they join a martial arts class, it fosters assertion, control, strength, and calmness, and enables them to be part of the bigger community where respect is the key value. Huge point. Very, very relevant. And I think you want to support and empower your kids, because I recognize we can never end social media, and I've always said social media has very positive qualities if used correctly, but the dark side of social media is huge, and it's so easy. Kids are innocent, and if they believe they've made a friend who's the same age in Australia, that's awesome to them. And especially if maybe they're being bullied at school, or if they're going through some emotional issues, or maybe they're just not, they're just not socially active. They rely on the internet and social media as a form of communication, and you have to help them understand that their self-worth and their self-value and their confidence comes from other things. It is not who they connect with on social media. And so the final point is, what should kids do if they see someone cyberbullied? I think the key point is that everyone stands together and stands up and says no to bullying. And so it's the bystander becoming an upstander. So if they know that someone's being cyberbullied, the first thing they need to do is to reach out to that kid and talk to them, and maybe review cyber safety strategies. And then the next thing is encourage them that they need to tell their parents, or their parent or guardian or a trusted adult, and that they can actually report this to the different social media. You also need to reinforce that what the bully said is not true, and that you do not believe it, and that you will support them, and that whilst it's easy to want to get revenge and to set the record straight, the best thing to do is to empower yourself to say no to bullying and help others, and to stand tall and be confident in yourself and be with other like-minded people that can say, you ain't gonna harm me. And so, yes, I know it kind of sounds simple and easy, and I get that it is a little bit more complex and difficult than that. But I think as adults who are trying to help children and teenagers, we need to be there, and we need to listen and support and not criticize, blame, or judge, and offer guidance, and go to social media together as a parental unit, as a family, and guide them so they are more aware, and they're quicker to respond when they see another person is being bullied, or if they themselves become the target, they can take action and they can talk to you and know that you will help them deal with this. So I hope you found this helpful, and that if you're not wearing blue as you watch this video, you will consider changing and putting something blue on in recognition of Blue Up Monday for World Bullying Prevention Awareness Day.